Hi Libra, welcome to June. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. Before I start your reading, I want to call in some good energy and create some sacred space around this reading. So this month I am going to do a general reading based on what you need to know based on the eclipses. So we have a new moon, a full moon eclipse on June 5th in Sagittarius, and a new moon eclipse on June 21st in Cancer. So I'm going to ask the cards, what will the eclipses bring for Libra for the month of June 2020? What changes? Because we're going through some changes. The nodes are changing from Cancer to Capricorn into Sagittarius, Gemini. We've got 2 eclipses this month, 1 next month. There's a lot going on this month. Venus is going direct, Mercury's going retrograde, Neptune's going retrograde. So instead of just focusing on love, I'm going to focus on anything that's important that might come up for June. And that could be love, career, finance, whatever the cards want to tell us. So, with that being said, what does Libra need to know for the month of June? What's coming up for Libra in the month of June 2020? What are the eclipses what changes will the eclipses bring for June 2020? I feel like we're transitioning. There'll be endings and beginnings and new cycles coming in. So what does Libra need to know about June 2020? What is coming in for Libra? Death. The 5 of Cups. The Ace of Swords. The 6 of Pentacles. The Lovers. The Knight of Wands. The 8 of Pentacles. The Queen of Wands. The Hangman. And the King of Cups. So you start the month out with the Death card. This is a card of change. It doesn't mean death, physical death. It's a card of change and transformation, where a cycle in your life has ended and you're in a transition. You're on the edge of a new cycle. But before you can start the new cycle, you have to let go of the past. You have to kind of make peace with the past and come to terms with the fact that something is over, that something has ended, that something that was once a part of your life has now been completed. And it's time to clear out the past, bless it, release it, and prepare for the new cycle that will be born on its ashes. The 5 of Cups is a card of regret. So you might be, and sometimes it can represent instability in a relationship. Like you may feel like a relationship is at a critical place where it seems unstable. You're not sure which way it's going to go, if it's going to be, if you can save the relationship, if it's going to end. And the person in this card has regrets about certain decisions they've made. They're focusing on the past, focusing on their losses. So you might be evaluating your life and, just crying over spilt milk, crying over what you've lost, crying over sorrows, maybe relationships that ended in the past or situations that are no longer working in your life. But you're not looking at the 2 cups behind you, which is what you can salvage and how you can move on from these losses. If it's a question of a relationship that's in a state of instability, because the 5 represents instability, you can salvage the relationship. It's not that it's totally lost, but you have to focus on the positive instead of focusing on the negative. So focus on what's good about this relationship. What are the good things that this person or this relationship or this situation brings to you, rather than focusing on all the flaws. If you can do that, if you can turn around and look at these 2 cups that are still full, you can salvage something from this situation. So yeah, there might have been regrets. Maybe you didn't, there were certain things you wanted to do that you didn't do, or certain things you're feeling like guilt. I should have done this, I should have done that. But you can't, what's gone is gone. What has been spilt can't be brought back. It's done. So you have to accept that, okay, it is what it is, and I need to move on. And the Death card is about recognizing that something is over, something has died, and you have to let go. Because if you don't, you're blocking any new beginnings from happening, because you have to clear out the old to make room for the new. And you have the Ace of Swords here. So you've been taking action in the past. The Ace of Swords is a warrior energy where you're changing. It's a new beginning in the way of thinking, because the swords are about thoughts and ideas. So you might be changing your thinking about something. And you might be ready to release something from the past. Maybe you've been doing a lot of thinking, and you're ready to let it go and bless it for what it meant to you. And look at things from a different perspective. You have the Six of Pentacles in the recent past. So this is a card of giving, where one person is giving to others that are less fortunate. So you might have been in a relationship where one person was doing all the giving and the other person was doing the receiving. So it was an unbalanced relationship. It wasn't like an equal give and take between partners. It was more like, I'm helping this person. This person needs me, and I'm giving to this person. But you weren't really getting a lot back. It was more of a, like, I'm the giver, and the other person's the taker. So that's passing. That imbalance is passing, because people who get this card are givers. They like to give. They like to help others. They might even work in a career, like in some type of healthcare or social work or something where they're helping other people that are less fortunate, and they're giving a lot of time and energy to something. But you have to be careful when you get this card that you're not over giving, where you forget to give to yourself, where you're giving so much to everybody else that you don't have time for your own needs, and you don't make time for your own needs. So you have to, and then you get burnt out. So you have to remember, I have to also give to me. It's okay for me to receive. I don't always have to be the giver. But that influence is passing, so I think that you're coming out of that cycle. I think you've been doing a lot of thinking with this Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords is giving you new insight into yourself and your whole life. So you're coming to terms with something that needs to change within yourself and in the way you relate to relationships and the world. So the Lovers is coming up in the future. That usually comes up when you have to make a choice. For some people, it could be a choice between two people in a relationship. Do I choose this person over that person? What do I choose? You know? Sometimes it's just a choice between, do I stay or do I go? Do I stay and work this out if my relationship is kind of shaky? Is this the end? Because I am changing. You know, when you change, your relationships start to change. Because you're not the same person. You're not, you change the dynamic. So when you enter a relationship with one dynamic and then you change who you are, you're changing the way that relationship, the rules of the game. So sometimes that can create instability in a relationship if you're growing and you're changing and your partner's not, or your partner isn't happy with the changes that you're making. It can change the situation. So the Lovers could be like having to make a decision. You know, who is this person in my life? Do I want them in my life? Do I want to keep them in my life? Or how important are they? You might be reevaluating a relationship. Other times, a Lover's card can come up when you have to choose between two paths. It doesn't have to even be a love relationship. It could be a career path. Do I stay and do this work that I've been doing for most of my life? Or do I choose something else and change? Because I feel like you're on the edge of a new cycle where the old way is no longer working. And you're looking for a new path. You have this Knight of Wands here. This is a card of adventure. You're ready for adventure. You're ready for something new. Maybe even to travel. Maybe you want to travel, or you want to change your job or your residence. Because the Knight of Wands is about movement. Either changing where you live, or changing the work that you do, or moving into a new company where you're changing the location of where you do the work, or the work you do involves more travel. So the Knight is looking for adventure. Like, I'm tired of the same old. I want to shake things up. When the Knight represents a person, it could represent someone who's a lot of fun but not very reliable. Someone who comes into your life. They're fun, but you can't count on them. They make promises they don't keep. They're very, they're like here today, gone tomorrow kind of energy. And I don't think that's what you want. I think you want something more solid. But you might be dealing with somebody like this, who promises everything but doesn't deliver. Or, so that you can't really count on them. But they're fun. And maybe you're trying to decide, do I stay in this friendship or this relationship, or do I need something else? You have the Eight of Pentacles here. This is a card about taking a new direction in your career. So this Knight of Wands can, in fact, mean that you're thinking about changing careers or changing the work that you do. And you might be trying to make a decision about that. Maybe you're tired of the work that you've been doing and you're looking for something new, something that's more engaging, something that doesn't take as much energy from you. Like this. This is a card of, sometimes you can feel drained if you're constantly giving. When you work in some kind of in a career where you're working with this, like you're servicing others, you're either in some kind of social work or healthcare or counseling, you're giving to others. It can be draining. And maybe things are starting to change and you're looking for something else. In your environment, you have the Queen of Wands. Now, this could be someone you're dealing with. You could be dealing with a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But it could also mean that it's time for you. The Queen of Wands is someone who's in a position of leadership. Someone who knows what they want and goes after it. And can manage, is a good manager, very outspoken. You could be dealing with someone like that, or you could maybe be having to tap into that energy. Maybe you're wanting, if you're changing jobs, you're moving into something where you have more of a leadership position, where you're required to make things happen, take action. You're not just taking orders, you're actually managing something, or you're making things happen. And you have this Hangman here. This is a card of, it's in your wish fulfillment sector. It's about giving something up for something better. So it could be moving from one job to another, one career path to another. And even though the new thing is better, you're still holding on to the past because you don't really want to give up what you have. Or you're not sure. With the Eight of Pentacles in your negative thinking sector, you might be thinking, I don't know about this new path. Is it going to work? So you're kind of questioning and doubting and just wondering what to do. I feel like you have to make some decisions this month. And that things could happen quickly that may require travel or a quick departure or quick decisions. The Hangman is also a card of patience. You've been patiently waiting for something to change, for something to give. But it's, at the same time, you feel like it's a sacrifice. Giving, because you're not totally unhappy with where you are. So it's not like you're leaving something that's really toxic and you can't wait to move to something else. Anything would be better. You're giving up something that you're pretty much okay with. It's just that this new opportunity that's coming up is going to be so much better. And it may mean like a whole change of life for you, or change of approach. It may be like moving into a new career or a different, where you're giving up your identity in a sense, because your identity is wrapped up with what you do and what you have done over the past many years. And then the outcome is this King of Cups. This is someone who's very nurturing, very sensitive, very deep, very calm in a crisis. He's someone that you can talk to. This could be a healer. He could be in the medical profession. Someone who could be a counselor even. But you can talk to this person and tell them everything and they understand. They're very calm in a crisis. They have deep feelings, but they don't always show them. Sometimes they present a tough exterior or a non-caring exterior because they don't want people to know how sensitive they are. And they don't feel comfortable sharing their feelings. If you're involved with someone, they could see you as the Queen of Wands, someone who gets things done, someone who's not afraid to speak their mind. So you could be leaving, if it's a relationship, you could be leaving one relationship for someone like the King of Cups. You might be leaving someone who's not very reliable, who hasn't been, or someone who's just got too much, maybe too self-centered energy. Or you could be leaving a relationship where you weren't getting your needs met and moving towards someone who's really giving you nurturing and who's listening to you, who's hearing you, someone you could really bond with on an emotional level. And leaving the active fly-by-night person who's a lot of fun but not reliable, and moving towards someone more sensitive and not so, maybe not as flashy or fiery, but more stable in a sense that they're there for you and they're calm. They know how to be calm in a crisis. So changes. Some of you might be changing jobs or careers. Someone might be and making a decision on that. Others may be deciding on a relationship. Do I stay or do I go? Or do I choose this person over that person? In any case, you know that something is changing in your life, that something in your life has to change, and that you have to release the past, the concept of who you think you are or who you were in the past. Because that persona is no longer, doesn't exist anymore. Through growth and change, you are entering into a new cycle, and you have to release whatever you identified with in the past and embrace the new, because change is coming. So let's see, the full moon in Sagittarius is happening in your third house, and you have Venus and the Sun in your ninth house. So this full moon is about communication, and it's about truth, and it's about beliefs. It's about information. What do I believe? Because Gemini, you're hearing all kinds of stories. And the Sagittarius full moon, the Sagittarius is about truth. What is truth? What do I believe? What do I have faith in? In all of the stories I'm hearing, how do I pull the truth out of that? And especially because it's happening in your communication sectors. You may have to communicate a truth, or you may wake up to a certain truth or a certain belief. And when the truth surfaces, you may have to make some changes because of this truth that you, like your awareness, it's like you're becoming conscious in some way. You're conscious of some truth. And because of that truth, that is going to lead to some kind of change or ending or culmination. Now, in some cases, I mean, that's on a deep level. You might just be finishing up a project that involves communication. You might be, but you have Venus in the 9th house. So if you have a relationship, you could be having a relationship with someone at a distance, of a different culture than you, of a different background. And you're just seeing things from a different perspective. They're teaching you and changing your beliefs. Like something, you might have believed something your whole life, and then you meet this person and they show you a different way of looking at things. And it changes you on a deep level. It's raising your awareness. Mars is squaring this full moon from the 6th house. So there could be some conflict around work. Maybe you're having some issues with your coworkers. And it could be that you decide that you want to move on to a different job. You have Mercury in your 10th house, sextile Uranus in the 8th. So Uranus in the 8th, that can bring up some stuff, because the 8th house is the house of sex, death, transformation. You're facing the darkness within ourselves. And Uranus in there, it's like kind of shaking you up. Like, look, you're seeing things not only in others but also in yourself. And Mercury in the 10th, has to do with, you have a message to give to the world. Maybe you're waking up and you feel like you want to communicate what you know and how you feel and what you believe. In some cases now, Mercury could also mean that you're getting more involved in communication, that your job is moving towards a situation where you're involved in a communications project. And you're expected to, you might be giving speeches or you might be writing more. Maybe you have a desire to write a book or to do something that involves writing because you have a message you want to get out there. And Libra is very creative, very, Libra is a thinking sign, it's an air sign. So you might be doing a lot of thinking and you might be coming up with innovative ideas. And with Uranus in the 8th, you might be looking for some type of financial support to fund those ideas, to bring them into reality. And it could be through, sometimes Uranus in the 8th can bring a relationship with someone who's a free spirit, where you're bonding at a deep level with someone. But this person is free spirited. You can't lock them down. You can't chain them to the bedpost, But this person can change you through your association with them. In the 4th house, you have Jupiter and Pluto, and they're almost at conjunction. They're moving into conjunction, which will happen in July, but they're like a degree apart, so they're pretty close. So things are changing in your house too. Your family, with family, home. Major changes. You might be rehashing things from your childhood. Even Jupiter there, sometimes when Jupiter's in the 4th house, you move into a new home that's a lot brighter and more expansive. Or you could be, sometimes you can move to a place where you feel out of place. Sometimes Jupiter in the 4th can make you feel, I don't know, there's like a cultural difference in the home. Now Mars is squaring, Mars is forming a T-square to this full moon from the 6th house. And the way out, and that's in Pisces, the way out is through the 12th house. So the 12th house and the Virgo energy is Virgo is the house of service. Whereas with Pisces, it's more about, like in the 6th house is about sacrifice. So maybe you've been overdoing it with the service and the sacrifice, and you have to now look and be more discriminating in who you give your love to, your service to. Are you giving too much of your energy away? And do you have to communicate that to someone? Do you have to tell someone, you're taking too much of my time, or I can't keep giving to you because it's not healthy for me? So you could have, some of you might have those conversations. And so you have to make a decision about how much you have been giving, how much are you willing to give, and is it too much? And do you need to pull back and start giving to yourself? Because sometimes when you're a giver, you get people take advantage of your kind nature. So you don't want that. Now you have the new moon. It's a solar eclipse in Cancer. And that's happening in your 10th house of career. So there could be a new job coming up, or a new beginning, a new life direction. For some, it could mean a job, a career change, a new opportunity coming in, new energy coming in. But it could also mean, because the 10th house is a change in status, it can mean a relationship that could lead to a commitment. Because at this new moon, you've got Saturn in Aquarius forming an exact inconjunct aspect. And the inconjunct it's in the 5th house. So it could be that if you're dating someone, you may want to make it more permanent, more serious. You might be thinking about a commitment. Saturn in the 5th could also relate to children. Maybe children are becoming a burden. Or you've been working so hard you have no fun, and you haven't had time for fun. Because the 5th house is the house of fun. But Saturn is the house of work. So you may feel like, I'm always working, I don't have time for fun anymore. I don't have time for my kids. I don't have time to do anything that's enjoyable. I'm always working. I have too many responsibilities. So you may want to cut back on some of that. Because you're having major changes in the home with Pluto there. And with Jupiter there, Jupiter brings opportunity. So if you want to change anything about your home and how your family life is going, Jupiter brings the opportunity to do that. Maybe even through moving to a new house. Maybe you need to move out of your home. Or make some major renovations to your home so that it fits who you are better. Again, Mercury is trining Neptune at this new moon. And Mercury's in the 10th house in Cancer. And the new moon, and the Neptune is in the 6th house. So Neptune in the 6th house, it is about, you have to communicate. I think a lot of people are expecting you to give because you're always there and you're always giving. And Neptune, you want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up to be a martyr, where you're over giving to be loved. And with Mercury there in the 10th house, it's a time to communicate. It's a time to get your message out. But it's trining Neptune, so you'll find the right words. It's a good time if you ever wanted to write anything or do anything creative. Now's the time to do it. Because you have the support of Neptune. And Mars is in the 6th house, so you're really working hard. But it's sextiling Jupiter and Pluto. So whatever work you're putting in, the 6th house is also your health. So you want to take care of your health. And make sure that your work is not draining your energy where it's affecting your health. Because I feel like you've been working really hard. And if you don't take time for you and take time to rest and recharge, it could affect your health. And sometimes with Neptune in the 6th house, if you're feeling, there may be something that you're feeling that's hard to diagnose sometimes, because Neptune represents confusion. and fogginess, like sometimes it even represents misdiagnosis. And Neptune, when it goes retrograde, it can bring clarity. So if you were confused about something, if you couldn't, especially with work or with health, when Neptune goes retrograde, it should clear that up. You should see clearer. You should understand. So I feel like you'll know what to do once Neptune goes retrograde. You'll be able to figure something out. You'll have a clear. You won't be as confused or foggy-headed. Especially because Mercury will be trining Neptune, which is positive instead of, it's not a negative aspect. So you have that. And Mars is going to make you want to take action. No, wherever Mars is, it's where your energy is. So Mars in Pisces in your 6th house. Your energy is all about work or health. So take time out to rest. If you're overgiving, give to yourself. And if you need to communicate about what your needs are, don't be afraid to speak up and let people know if they're overstepping their boundaries or if they're expecting too much from you. And let them know that, hey, I need some rest. I need to heal. I've been overgiving. And especially if there's a relationship issue, you can help clear it up by communicating. So that's my forecast for June, Libra. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, click on the link in the description box. Excuse me. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for everyone who has liked this channel, who has been commenting. I really enjoy reading the comments, and thank you for those who've ordered readings. And if you're new, welcome. If you'd like a private reading, click on the link in the description box. It'll take you to my website, and we can get you on the schedule. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourself, and recharge if you need to. And I will talk to you again next month. I hope you enjoy June. Okay, bye now.